Am I in the right position?
Yeah, that's perfect. You're framed perfectly.
Cool. Okay, I'll just get my book so I can read.
Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's been quite a few weeks since I last uploaded a video. Some of that was because my mum had been a bit poorly and I was a bit thrown off kilter, but she's doing great now. And I also had some problems with my eyesight. I'm going to go into that in a little bit more detail in this video, but the main thing in this video, I just want to talk about flares, not the trousers that were popular in the 60s, but the Fibro Flare, because I've been going through a bit of a rough one, and I just want to explain what that is for those who don't know, and go through things that kind of help me and stuff like that. So welcome back. So the flare, the Fibro Flare, what is it?
Aeroplane.
Oh joy, there hasn't been one all morning.
Nearly gone.
It's a good job Andrew is so alert with his aeroplane spotting.
They are quite quiet.
When the contrails have disappeared from the sky, we can restart.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a Fibro Flare, what is that? It's basically an exacerbation or intensified increase to your symptoms. So everybody's Fibro Flare is going to be different, just like everybody's fibro is different. So it's not a flare just because maybe your pain gets worse or because somebody else's pain got worse but yours didn't, and therefore you're not in a flare. It's not like that. It's whatever symptoms you have, it's an increase in those or a worsening of those. Also with a Fibro Flare, it can, I didn't know this, but it can cause additional symptoms, so symptoms that you may not necessarily have had before. Because of the stress that your body goes under when you're flaring, it can bring out different things, and this doesn't necessarily have to be a physical thing. It could be an emotional thing. I think I fucked that up. Did that sound shit?
No.
So with Fibro Flares, they can last a really short period of time. And they can last a very long period of time, because it can be hours, days, weeks, months, and even years. You can get stuck in a Fibro Flare, and it does cause certain limitation to your abilities, so it will really affect. I'm clearly struggling with my brain today, so apologies. Sometimes I can't find the words. Thank you, Fibro Fog. But yeah, so I don't know what just happened with my brain. It does this every now and then. And sometimes I can't finish sentences, so I just say Fibro Fog and then leave it there, and everyone can guess what I'm saying. So that was a really short video. Hope you enjoyed. So yeah, what I was going to say basically is it can cause you to be quite limited, and it can even cause you to be incapacitated, so you might be stuck in the bed because of the symptoms, and then anything that you do whilst you're in a flare can make things much more difficult in terms of pain and weakness and stuff like that. So generally nearly every one of us spoonies or warriors has gone through a flare at some point, and I think when you're first diagnosed, like I wasn't sure whether I was in a flare or whether this was just normal fibro, and it took quite a long time to really know what normalcy was in terms of my fibro, and what it was like being in a flare. And it does suck. I mean, fibro sucks on its own, but when it gets worse, when you're flaring, it's just not a good place to be at all. And it like with everything, with fibro. It does affect so many things. I can go quite like a bit like a recluse in myself. I can, you know, go very quiet, be really emotional. You know, I've had a good cry this morning, which may explain why I'm not looking so great. So different things can trigger different things. It can be an old trauma. It can be, I am quite an expert now in stubbing my toe, catching my fingers indoors and banging my hands on the edge of the table. And every time I do that, the pain just goes through the roof. So yeah, I feel like this video is a bit of a difficult one to do because I haven't been here with you guys for a few weeks. So I'm out of that routine. And I know I've spoken about how important routine is, but this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do the video today, and I've put it off every day this week, and even before. I hope Andy wouldn't mind me saying, but he was like, "Are you sure you want to do the video today?" And I did, because I want you to see how much you can struggle even just finding words. So, you know, the vacancy in your eyes, or, you know, I have a notebook which I wrote in just so I wouldn't forget things, and I'm very conscious that I'm looking down, and but I just want everybody to know that this is what it's like, basically. And if you are going through it, someone else out here also understands what that's like. They can come out of nowhere, flares. They can, I don't mean like flares off a boat, like they're not going to come flying across you or anything like that, but they can come from nowhere, and they completely can knock you off your feet just like that. And that is probably one of the most frustrating things for me with fibro, is that something can change like Thanos in a click of a finger, you know. It's and it can go from one extreme to the other. It can be pain, it can be fatigue, you know, it can be just emotion coming out. And with fibro flares, you kind of just have to go through the motion of having it. But there are some things you can do to help try and avoid flares, and there are also things that you can do to help yourself go through that flare. So, you know, what you may need to have in, like, maybe a bit of a self-care kit. So I'm gonna go through some of the causes and some of the things that can possibly help. You know, these aren't in any way you know, I'm not trying to say that these are going to help you in particular if you're going through a flare, or you know, if there's anything there that you're not too sure of. You know, I'm not medically trained, and I say that all the time, but so just, you know, check that it's okay to do certain things. And I'm not talking about doing anything rigorous or ridiculous, and I will never ever advise any kind of changes to any treatment that you're having, but just a few tips that I found have helped. So in terms of causes, the list is almost as long as how many fibro symptoms that there are, but some of the main ones are things like weather changes. So, you know, living in the UK with the amazing climate that we have, we don't really go through many weather changes. You know, last week I think we had rain, it was bitterly cold, we had sunshine. You know, the temperatures change all the time, and that's something you can't control, you know. But maybe you could have things around that can help during those weather changes. Anything in terms of exertion, so whatever your normal exertion levels are, whether they're sedentary or you know you're running around, which, you know, probably wouldn't be a good idea if you had fibro anyway, but so overexertion can cause you problems. Relationships, temperature changes, again, that kind of goes in with the weather, but it can also be when you're in the shower or a bath. So if you're getting into a very hot bath, that can trigger a flare. Or if the water's like me, you know, sometimes you fall asleep in a bath, you know, if the water's dropped to quite cold, that's another shock to the body. Insomnia can trigger a flare, which is quite odd because it's also a symptom of fibro. But everybody knows that if you don't get good sleep, it can really affect how you function. And you know, sometimes I've gone days where I've not had a minute of sleep, and I don't know how I keep going. So that can trigger flares. Traveling around, obviously we're limited with restrictions at the moment because of COVID, but just walking, going in a car, you know, maybe using public transport, all those kind of things can affect fibro and can trigger things. Any changes to your treatment, whether you're trying something new, whether it's a holistic thing or whether that's a new medication that the doctor's prescribed you, or if you're trying to reduce or increase any kind of dosage, that can also trigger flares. Hormonal changes. I am very hormonal and I do take HRT, and I had a little bit of a chat with a pain practitioner nurse yesterday as part of my fibro support group that I'm in, and I actually asked the question about whether HRT can affect certain medications or maybe the medications that I'm on. So she's going to look into that for me and just see exactly what I'm taking and whether I'm in need of any kind of review. Stress, work, any kind of illness, injury, those kind of things that you would expect. And things like allergies. So, you know, we're going to be entering the hay fever season soon. Yay. Andy gets it really bad. So from end of March to like end of September, he's just sick and gross and snotty, and I really feel for him. But I mean, I get it a little bit, but not to that extent. So yeah, make sure you're on top of things like if you need allergy meds, you know, have you got those? Have you got the right ones? Because there are different types of hay fever tablets, for example. So have a chat with your doctor or the pharmacist. I don't know if everybody is aware, but even though you can chat to your GP about medication, you can also speak to a pharmacist. You are entitled to 2 free medication reviews every single year in the UK with a pharmacist, where they can go through everything that you're on and what side effects and things like that. So that's always something that you can have in the back of your mind. So as you can see, there's so many triggers. It's how can you avoid these, and you can't. So it's about how you manage them and how you maybe lessen the impact of those to try and help you. And if you are having a flare, you know, what have you got to hand? So maybe do a little self-care kit. So maybe have some stuff handy that you've always got, you know, it's always in the same place, whether that's like a little box with maybe a hot water bottle in, a fluffy blanket, you know, something that you enjoy eating, maybe your favorite CD or playlist on your phone, you know, that kind of thing. Cassette if you're still in Holyhead, and so yeah, things like that. Think about what you could potentially have in your self-care kit. I don't necessarily have a box or anything, but I do have things that I go to. For example, my dressing gown, being near Andy, you know, just having him around. Yesterday I used 3 hot water bottles, all of different sizes and shapes, behind it, a long one down my back and stuff like that. So those kind of things do help. Be proactive, and you know, it's easier said than done, because when you're not feeling great, you just want it to stop and you don't know what to do. But you know, have you educated yourself about fibro enough? Is there anything else that you can control? You know, don't worry about the things that you can't control. Just think about what you can control and safely, and you know, what you feel, anything that you feel that will help you is only a good thing. So you know, don't beat yourself up too much. You know, if you've reached for a chocolate bar or 10 like I have, don't push yourself too hard. You probably already aware about pacing and things like that, but if all you've managed to do that day is just breathe, then that is actually okay. You know, there's no commitment to do anything for anybody else or for anybody else. You know, I don't really know what I'm talking about. This is fibro fog now, but just, it's really important for self-care. You've got to be kind to yourself. Make yourself comfortable in whatever that is. So you might, I learned yesterday about something called true rest, which is something where you can like lie down completely on your back, support all your limbs with different pillows, so you're literally just sinking into everything, and just concentrate on your breathing, and then just lie there for 5 or 10 minutes. Try to just empty your mind, if you can, and that's what's called true rest. If you are pregnant, no, don't do that, because you know you're not meant to be laying on your back, so please don't do that. There was a midwife in my fibro support group yesterday who questioned that true rest with one of the physios, and she did advise not to do that if you're pregnant. So yes, true rest, do that, and just don't, I know I've already said it, but just don't be hard on yourself. Know that it will pass, like this aeroplane. With true rest as well, if it's going to be something that you can regularly practice, even if it's just a few minutes every day, you'll find that you have more benefits rather than just a deep relaxation. It will help your body and mind. So I'm certainly going to give it a go, because I will try anything to help, and I'll keep you posted on how it goes for me, but it's just something to think about. But yeah, again, just a warning for any pregnant ladies who are watching, just check with GPs, midwives, because the one I was chatting to yesterday, she was advising not to lie on your back. So yeah, you can do that on your bed. Everyone's hopefully got a bed, everyone's got pillows. When the lockdown and restrictions start to ease and things start to open again, I'm going to go to enjoy a flotation tank, hopefully still. I've seen these, they look incredible, and I'm very excited. There's one not too far away from where we live, or not one, a place where you can go. So yeah, hopefully if they reopen, we'll be looking to go for that. So I'll let you know my experiences about that in time. So that's really all I can say about fibro flares at the moment. I just want to touch base a little bit on eye problems and fibro, because I have had quite a lot of eye problems in the last few years, and the most recent was a few weeks ago, which caused a lot of delays as well with recording videos because I couldn't see, and I was having horrendous eye pain. I couldn't really see properly. I rang the local eye emergency department, and they got me to go along. Unfortunately for me, the nurses there recognised me because I've been there a few times. But it turned out last year, or maybe the year before, I think it was last year, I had a corneal abrasion, which was a little hole in the bottom of my eye. And this time around, that apparently cleared up fine, but this time around, because of scar tissue or whatever, and my eyes were so dry, when I was waking up in the morning, my eyelid, this is going to gross some people out, so skip it if you don't want to know, but my eyelid would essentially take off a layer of my eye, because they're so dry and they were so irritated and they were so inflamed, and I was there for quite a long time, having lots of, the looking in my eye with the slit lamp, and which is agony when you've got what I've got. and it, you know, a couple of nurses came in and the ophthalmologist came in, and I heard the nurse talking to the ophthalmologist outside, and mentioned that I also had fibromyalgia, and that could explain a lot. So it made me want to look into it more. This nurse was talking to the ophthalmologist consultant out in the hallway, and I could hear that she mentioned that, you know, this lady had fibromyalgia, which could explain a lot of things, and it made me want to look up a bit more about eye problems with fibro, and maybe that needs a whole video one day. But I came away from there with so many things I had to put in my eyes, because it turned out I had a recurrent corneal erosion. I think that's what they said. Yeah. An iritis, and also it's on my record that I suffer with uveitis, which I looked up as well, which is quite it can be a bit nasty. So I was told off by the nurses when I went in to have my eyes checked, because I left it a little bit too long, partly because of the virus and worrying about going to a hospital, and partly thinking maybe it's just fibro and it'll just go. So if you know, I got really bad eye pain, so she told me next time I just need to go straight there. So I got lots of drops, steroids, ointments, actual tears, and I've been given some that I've got to take for 6 months for just dry eyes. So yeah, look after your eyes. I don't really know what I'm saying. I'm talking gibberish. I think that's probably time for me to go. I'll be looking into more about the eye problems, and we'll do a separate video on that, which will hopefully be a little bit more coherent. Was there anything else I wanted to say? I just want to tell you one more thing. Okay. I got something. I've talked about low impact exercise, and I got something the other day to try and help me learn. So, can you reach it? Sorry if it goes a bit wobbly. So I got myself a hula hoop. Yes. It's the wrong size, because I didn't know you had to get a size, a particular size at all. But if you do want to get a hula hoop, it's got to reach, when it's stood on its end, it's got to reach your waist. And I decided to relearn from my childhood the hula hoop and practice, even if it's just a minute a day. So far I've managed 4 regular 30-second sessions on different days this week, and I've managed to get it from my waist to my feet. I am yet to be able to hold it for long enough around my waist, but I'm going to do it. I'm determined. So,
I can't do it. I can go.
yeah, I would show you now, but no. I will wait until I can do it. And I also made about a 3-year-old quite jealous in the supermarket when we were doing our essential shop, and she saw I had this. She wanted it, but it was mine. So I'm off to hula. Gentle hugs and peace out.
Wait, I just need to zoom out. Okay. Perfect. And look at the cameras. Let's see here.
Is it okay to go?
Yeah.
Are you recording?
Been recording for ages.
Okay. I need to read out loud.